Oh, it says live up there now. I
Ooh, it
think
says
that means. I think it means we're live. We shall see. We have.
Is he roboting or is that just me?
Yeah, I was just running a speed test. Jeff, we got a lot of slip coming from you.
I don't know what that
Slip,
means.
skip.
Oh, okay.
You get very robotic, and we get about every 15th syllable.
Need to feed that squirrel. You didn't feed him enough.
He needs to close about 200 tabs on his browser.
Yeah, we can't all have fiber optic.
Oh, that's true.
You gotta get the sun on the hamster wheel and start running it, man.
Okay. Is it working yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back.
All right. This computer doesn't like being woke up and asked to go to work. It tends to, if I don't fire it up early, it will give me problems. I'm hoping that it settles down as we get into this. And if not, then, maybe this turns out to be a pretty short show. Man, I think I got it crooked.
We said short show, right?
A short show. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was an O, not an I.
Huh? Yeah. So anyhow, everyone to this week of Gear Report, where I very robotically talk about the connection is unstable. It says, I don't know what's going on here. I would about guarantee you that my kids are streaming everything downstairs, and that is flogging the internet connection.
Well, yell at them. You've got a mute button.
I do, don't I? Yeah. I could. Let me send a text, and we'll see if things settle down while I'm texting the kids saying, "Get off the internet." But you guys are free to talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing that.
Well, I'll read through the introductions. How about I just handle that for you?
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, from the hammock chat and also with Gear-Report.com, Pickle in the house. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Not a lot. What has the hammock chat been up to lately?
Just kind of kicking off season 2. I didn't realize there was going to be a season 1, or expect there to be a completion to season 1, let alone a season 2. My last camping trip, I got rained out on and ended up in Nolans.
Really?
Which wasn't exactly planned, but a good time was had by all, and I was even responsible enough to make it back to the house in time for work on Monday.
Wow.
And that was a 16-hour drive back, so I'm kind of proud of myself for that one.
Straight
What's
shot.
up, T-minus?
Straight shot, all at once?
Straight shot from Nolans up to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where my Jeep was parked, and then another 5 hours east to the house.
Oh, so you went 21 straight.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a big party.
Nice. It's good to know that there is a real man of travel besides myself out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is there a song for that? They had the Real Man of Genius, right? Real Man of Genius. Do we have this something similar for travel?
Buffett's got a Man of Leisure.
I'm not even sure that was English.
The Soggy Bottom Boys have the Man of Constant Sorrow.
Man of Constant Sorrow.
I think that's Jeff, honestly.
It is.
Especially with the diffuser on the mic. I can so see him just breaking out a little Constant Sorrow.
That's a spit guard. You've been around him enough. You know what's up.
Yeah.
Plosives. All right. Does my internet connection seem to be getting a little more stable?
Yes.
Okay, good. I apologize to everyone for the robotic nature of the early stuff coming from me. How you get rained out? I think that's a question, Pickle.
So if a rookie mistake on weather protection was to be made, I made them all at the same time. I had a prototype tarp that I knew needed seam sealed, but didn't take the time to seam seal it. So number one, I got leaking from the top. The way I secure my hammock to the straps to the trees with the Beckett hitch, the trees were about as big around and spread as far as I could get on my 15-foot straps, and did not have any tail to continue the water break. And we got 2.5 inches of rain overnight, and it was supposed to rain the entire weekend. So all the rain soaked the straps, ran down the straps, hopped the water break straight into the hammock.
Wow.
So hammock was soaked a good foot on each end of the hammock. And then what didn't get the hammock got onto the under quilt suspension and ran down and puddled in the under quilt.
Well, sounds to me like you may have created the world's first waterbed hammock.
Yeah.
I tried.
That's pretty cool.
I tried. Just wish it was heated.
Yeah. So are we being nice and letting him off the hook for that, or? Yeah, we can.
Considering I know zilch about hammocks, I'll go with it. Sure.
All right. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it just because I went to the trouble to print it. Come on, man. Respect better from you, Pickle.
Love it. Beautiful.
Yep.
I got to get one of those. Got to get one of those.
This thing, Pickle will tell you, when I logged on, it's crooked, I think, because this was applied to the shirt about a minute and a half before we went live.
Really? So that's like fresh.
Like I turned the camera on
as he's changing it.
I was still stripping, and I had to peel the backer off of this, where this is vinyl cut letters that I cut and apply. Oh, there it is. There's the backer that was on here, and I'm peeling it off. Oh no, it's gonna pull the letters off now. It's sticky. Yep, that was almost a train wreck right there. But anyhow, yeah, I did this just for the show, and I would like to start something here, if that's all right. Y'all give me ideas before shows, like the day of the show or the day before. Like I want to do some topical, witty stuff. Like I want it to be a thing where people log on to see what kind of crazy crap is on Jeff's shirt today. But I'm not witty enough to come up with that all the time. So as you guys come up with stuff, shoot me notes or leave it in Facebook or wherever. Shoot me something before the show. And if something's good enough, I will print it and put it on a shirt for the show.
You need to make one that says, "Can't edit JJ's articles."
Oh, no, I can't do that. I'll hurt his feelings.
Oh.
Maybe one that says robot voice.
Robot. Okay. All right.
Or just
Mr.
Domo
Roboto.
Arigato.
Just Domo Arigato.
All right. I'm going to do Domo. Oh, how do you spell that?
Arigato.
Arigato. Arigato.
Mm-hmm.
Arigato.
It's a Japanese phrase that means thank you very much.
Yes, I put it in the chat so I can go back and find it later. And maybe I'll do that for the next one. Today it's March 10th, Mario Day. I was not aware of that. I did know that 2 days ago it was
March 8th,
which is 308 day. And I missed the, posting anything about that. All right. Video quality looks good to me. Thank you, Blaze Box, for letting me know. Hopefully we're done with the robotic pixelated voice thing after sending the note to the kids saying, get off the internet. So,
this concludes the robotic portion of this podcast.
Yeah, it may or may not. I mean, it could come back.
You need to put get off the internet. That'd be a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of shirts and, rolls and rolls of this heat transfer vinyl. It is bugging me. It keeps getting crooked. There we go. I want to be able to read it the whole time.
Well,
Okay.
you know what
good.
they say? There was a crooked man who had a crooked shirt. Something.
I don't know. I don't trust people who say things like that. So why don't wait? Speaking of people I don't trust, did you make it all the way through the introductions? Did you make it all the way through the internet? I think you got started, and then Pickle went sideways.
Pickle went
right?
off on a rant he took up. He's got to be the center of attention. So
yeah.
You asked me what was going on. You know I'm a diva.
I was just being polite, Pickle.
Pickle's that guy.
You're supposed to say
you better have 45 minutes if you ask him what's going on.
You're supposed to say. We'll get into that later in the show. But thank you for having me. That's what you're supposed to say. Just telling you, it's etiquette, man.
Okay. All right. See, we're all learning here. We're all learning. All right. Who's the other guy here?
The ghostest with the mostest.
The ghostest. Yeah. Would he like to introduce himself?
Sure. Hi, I am Trey from Ghost Tactical and Gear-Report.com.
He is.
Did he say Ghost Tackle? He's doing fishing
Ghost
now.
Tackle.
I am Ghost Tackle. That's going to be my new
Ghost
channel. That's on my D channel.
I like it.
That's pretty cool. You could do football gear on there too.
I could do that, couldn't I? Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Football and fishing. All right. And Clover, would you like to say hi?
Yeah, apparently I'm the co-host for the night, I guess, because Jeff can't afford fiber optic and actual good internet. But yeah, Chris with Clover Tech and Gear-Report, not -report.com.
Those are both true stories, by the way. I can't afford the good internet. I don't know if it's even available here, but I committed. I was talking to my father yesterday. First time I saw them, the first time they stopped by my house in over a year because of COVID stuff. They've been afraid because I don't care about COVID. So they don't come anywhere near me because if anyone's going to get it, it's going to be me. And I don't care. So they've just kept their distance from me. But they stopped by and I was telling them that one of the features of the program this evening, just like last week, is we're multicasting. So this is going out on Facebook Live and on YouTube, not just YouTube the way it was for however long we did it before. And I got to get into that as well. So don't let me forget to talk about our new sponsor. But I was telling my dad, I said, I set up Open Broadcaster software. I had it all ready to go. It was going to be so awesome to push a stream out to Facebook and push another stream out to YouTube and maybe somewhere else. And then it occurred to me, I don't have enough bandwidth. I barely have enough bandwidth to do one stream, let alone multiple streams.
Yep.
So, and heck, I'd probably cross the streams anyway. We know that's a bad idea. So,
well, unless you're trying to destroy Gozer.
Right. So
does that make us all islands in the streams?
All right. Now, listen, I take us off the rails. You guys, I don't need your help. All right. If you guys also take us off the rails
of a crazy train, this is a crazy train.
It is. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yep. So because I didn't have a fast enough internet to use Open Broadcaster to push this stream out to multiple places, I got to thinking, I'm going to have to sign up for one of these services where I can push it one place and then they redistribute it to other places. I've been using StreamYard, and you know what? Someone who I admire greatly recently confided in me that he upgraded StreamYard to the paid version so he could multicast. And I said, you know what? I don't think Gear-Report's quite a Ghost Tactical, but we're going to upgrade anyway.
Whatever.
And I reached out to our friends at Riton Optics and said, hey, here's what I'd like to do. Would you like to be the sponsor of This Week at Gear Report? And they said, where do we send the check? So we have a sponsor. I would like to say, thank you, Ryton Optics. They just sent over some graphics. I'm going to put together like a little opening graphic screen. If you go to on Gear Report to the This Week at Gear Report page under live shows, you will see there's a new little banner ad up there for Ryton Optics. And we've known them for a few years. We have done a couple reviews for their stuff, spent some time with them down in Florida at the Fire Expo. And looking forward to doing some more cool stuff with them moving forward. So, just got the graphics this afternoon, so I'm going to put some stuff together for that. And we really appreciate them.
Awesome.
Welcome to the dark side, right on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right. Chris, do you want to talk about your event first? Because you said you had kind of limited time with us this evening, right?
I'm okay. We can go whatever format you feel most comfortable with. So,
all right. So how about this? Let's get a couple of these reviews out of the way. And then, oh, hold on. We got comments coming in right on right. Yeah, that's how their name came about, if I'm not mistaken, is they were just looking for a way to say something like that. I'm telling you, my crooked shirt is going to drive me nuts. I got to get next one I print. I've got to get it straight because it keeps wanting to get all crooked. And then it does, you can't read the whole, come on, man. And that just kind of bugs me.
I mean, let's be honest. Anyone that knows you knows that having it crooked is probably the right way to go.
Oh, I'm pretty
It's about
unbalanced.
as centered as it's going to get.
well, you're not sitting straight. I can tell that one shoulder is lower than the other. So,
dude,
and you're also
so-
not sitting. You're not also not sitting. You're off both ways on your X and your,
and now
and your
my
Y.
neck's crooked. So here's the deal. My shoulders are so jacked up. The last shoulder surgery I had, I think it was this one. Was it? Maybe no. I can't remember. One of them, last time they were in, they were just supposed to sew some stuff back together, and I wake up and it hurt like a mother. I'm like, I've had a bunch of these surgeries. I know what they feel like. And I woke up and I was like, there is something not right. They're like, oh yeah, we took a ½ inch off your collarbone while we were in there. It's like, why did you do that? But yeah, I'm all crooked all over. Just yeah, my body's so jacked up. It's crazy. I could tilt my chair. I don't know, man.
Or you could just tilt the camera.
That requires
tilt the camera a little bit.
Tilt the camera. Oh, that's brilliant. Look at that. All right.
Jackpot.
Yep.
Other than his camera froze. Up.
What? Did it really?
No, you're good.
Back?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's perfect.
Will y'all be doing a show? Yeah. So you missed that.
No.
No, he didn't miss the show. He missed the talk about the show.
Yes.
We were talking about that a little while ago. So you're going to have to go back and watch it in replay. We do this again.
We were talking about that before the show started.
We were talking about it once we.
Oh, that was before the show started. I ain't released that one yet, but okay. I do tomorrow night. Mind, then. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay. He is crooked. That's the rumor. Mr. John Rammel, good to see you. Thank you. Camera for the win. Yep. I mean, it's really crooked, but it makes me look like I'm almost sitting up straight. So, hey, we're just going to roll with the crooked camera. And Come On Man is perfectly visible. So I'm happy now. I'm easy to please. It doesn't take much to make me happy. All right, we're going to go to share screen. So Clover, what we're going to do, let's get 2 out of the way, and then you can talk about your stuff. So we'll break the monotony of going through some of the already published reviews, right? Because this is the agenda that we have completely obliterated so far in this show, is we talk about what's been published since the prior show. Then we talk about some things that are upcoming. And then if there's time and energy and willpower left, we get into the shit shooting portion of the show where we just kind of ramble and talk about whatever. But we just kind of went there to begin with. So Jason, the Rogue Banshee, has been knocking out some reviews for a couple different companies. Wheeler, he's done a couple for Wheeler lately, I think, as well. But there's a family of companies. He's been working through some of their products. Wheeler is part of that family of companies. He's got a review of a professional gunsmithing screwdriver set. This is something that before I really got into shooting and working on guns a little bit, because I am not a gunsmith, but I do change parts and things. I didn't understand why something like this was important. And then I had a collectible gun that I needed to take apart, and I couldn't get a screwdriver to fit right. And I kind of mangled a little bit of a screw and was like, oh my goodness, now I understand why having the right size screw bit, precisely the right size screw bit, makes a big difference. He gave this 4 out of 5 stars. If you want to see why, you're going to have to go read the article. Unless you are efficient. See, I'm not calling them lazy, the people who watch the videos. I'm calling them efficient. If you are more efficient, you are welcome to go watch the video that is embedded for your convenience within the article. And he talks about it all, the bits, the case, everything. And even tells you where you can get it cheaper, I believe. So if that looks interesting to you, please go check that review out.
I've had one of those for years. The handles on my drivers are different than those. They've upgraded handles.
Yeah.
But I would say one thing: the little compartment, that empty compartment on the side.
Mhm.
And I don't know if he mentioned this, or I'm sure he's aware it exists. They make an accessory kit that fits in that compartment that's got even more bits and stuff in it.
Wow.
And it's not that expensive. So if you're looking at buying that 89-piece kit, I would say go ahead and get the extra little accessory thing too.
Nice. Nice. All right. So number 2, we're going to dig into this one. When does it just go off the rails? You know what? That is an open question. You never know. It could be early. It could be late. It could be mid-show. It could be when someone asks a question in the middle of the show. You never know when it's going to go.
Does it ever really get on the rails?
I don't think it did today. No. I mean, and Pickle will tell you it was off the rails before we even got started, because I turned the camera on and I'm changing clothes and Pickle's like, dude, what are you
Jeff's
doing?
half naked and it's not me. And
Yep. The gorge will make you slightly to the left. Oh, interesting.
you ain't got a whole lot of experience up in the gorge, do you, Jeff?
I haven't been there in a while, but I got a big backpacking trip this summer and I need to get some miles in. So we should get together. And I know, well, a gorge trip will be good. I know Andy, who was commenting a minute or 3 ago, he is coming to this Smoky Mountain somewhere in a few weeks. You know, there's some potential opportunities for getting together in the woods and doing some backpacking. And a gorge trip is very interesting to me.
Yep.
Tomorrow night for sure. All right. There will be shenanigans, apparently.
There will be shenanigans.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully no one will have to pull a knife and cut anyone during that show. You never know. It's always a possibility, right?
That would be a fluffy mess.
Yeah. Understood. So, Jacob Perkins, who has not stopped by to harass me yet this evening, he usually leaves some comments here and there. Jacob reviewed one of the more high-end knives that we've ever had, as far as, from a price point standpoint. This is we do a lot of budget knives. We do a few mid-grade knives. This is a little higher than what we typically do. This is more of a, you got to be serious about your knives if you're going to get something like this that he calls, simultaneously a workhorse and a showpiece. That's kind of the way my wife described me when we got married, but yeah. It's funnier when she's here to say something snide about it. But anyhow, he likes it. He carries it. He's not afraid he's going to lose it, because he leaves it home if he thinks he's going to lose it. Maybe carries something else like the SOG Seal XR. But you are welcome to scroll through, if you're into knives, and read all the details of what Mr. Perkins has to say about the Benchmade 940 Osborne Axis Lock Knife. That is a long product name. Okay. And with that, I would like to ask the Tactical Leprechaun to tell us about his big trip this past weekend.
Yeah, sure. Did not break out the list of people that or rather companies that attended, but yeah, the Shooting Sports Showcase was at CMP Talladega Marksmanship Park Monday. For those that have not been to that facility, if you get the opportunity, I highly encourage you to do so. Hopefully, I took a lot of pictures, even in areas that were outside the event. We kind of had free reign. We could go all over the park. And the different sections of the park, I mean, you pretty much literally have to drive from one section to the next. And they've got parking lots in each section. And I mean, it's amazing, man. First of all, it's kind of in the hills there, and secluded, and that's beautiful. And then, like I said, it was built, I think they opened in 2015. So it's fairly new. So that's something, right? But they spared no expense. Digital scoring everywhere. Just crazy. Anyway, there was what is it? Southeast Outdoor Press Association, National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers, and of course, Professional Outdoor Media Association, which I'm a member of, was a closed event or a private event or whatever you want to call it. There was. They also invited. There you go. And if you go. Media was invited. Of course, companies were, they brought companies in and stuff like that to set up as exhibitors, booths, whatever. And then also dealers and distributors and that sort of things could attend, right? So kind of like SHOT Show in that it was a quote unquote industry only event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Closed range, they actually had, like a guard gate, somebody there, and that way members and things, couldn't just drive up and try to get in. So it was, it was pretty cool because they kind of shut it down for all of us. They're closed, I think, on Monday and Tuesday anyway. Typically that range is. So I think that's one of the reasons I was wondering, why are they doing an event on a Monday? That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense once I've seen the schedule for the range. Anyway, took a bunch of pictures. We'll probably put out some type of video or maybe even an article on the range and everything there. But yeah, there's a few of the companies that were like sponsors, and of course we're there. Got to speak with Savage. Check out the Impulse, that straight pull rifle. What little I played with it, pretty amazing. Checked out some of the Bergar stuff, of course. The CVA, can't remember the CVA bolt action. Dad Nabbit, somebody out there may have the name of that, but I can't remember it offhand. Obviously, Pioki was there. Glock was there. Taurus, which also includes Rossi, and of course, Heritage. High Point was there. Sky was there. Axel Hearing Performance was there. Who else? Who am I missing? I'm missing people on your list. Canic, right? Canic, also Century, of course.
Did you get any clarification on the appropriate pronunciation?
They all said Canic, so I'm going with Canic.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody there at all, including those in the booth, said anything other than Canic, so I'm going with Canic. Yeah. But anyway, about I figure with media and distributors / dealers or whatever, I figure maybe 75, 80 people, absolute max. Vendors, exhibitors, people that had booths set up, looking at, there was probably maybe 25 to 30. And I'm missing a bunch. The list is there. I think I rattled those off before I went a few weeks back. I think we talked about it, and I rattled those off on a show. But it was great because it was, I enjoyed it because it was sort of like Industry Day at the Range with SHOT Show. However, it was at a much, much nicer range, in my opinion. And the FaceTime you had with the companies and being able to talk with them, and of course try the products and everything else. You just had more time to do that. The lines weren't many times. I tried to time it to where nobody was there. If somebody was, in a booth, I would just walk on to a different booth and then just come back. There wasn't enough booths or bays or whatever, enough companies there for it to really matter much. And you could come back when nobody was there and then spend 15, 20 minutes or whatever. So it was pretty nice. It was a great aspect of it. They've already slated it for next year. It's going to be in the same place, CMP Talladega Marksmanship Park, I believe March 14th. And the only caveat to go, I'm going to reach out. One thing that I feel bad about is not reaching out to companies that I deal with, or know, and making sure this was on their radar in case they wanted to go there as an exhibitor.
Yep.
And I feel kind of sorry that I didn't do that, because that could have grown the event and made it an even bigger, better event, right?
We TJ and I ran into the same thing with the event in Florida with the Fire Expo. Coming out of that, we talked to some brands. I stayed an extra week in Florida to go to a little private event with a list of brands, and they're like, "What do you mean you didn't tell us that's why you were down here? We'd have gone to it. We're already in Florida." Yep.
Yeah, and there's Alabama, not that far from Florida. Yeah. And so, there's a lot of industry, right? A lot of companies that are based out of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So, but pretty decent event. I dropped the first video yesterday, which was on the Dark Storm Industries DS25, which is the love child between a AR-10 and an AR-15. So basically a AR-15 weight, dimension, style, platform, chambered in 308. And then I've got a couple of other videos already produced. They're just scheduled, waiting to go out. And then, like I said, my hope, kind of like you did, Jeff, you and well, I guess it was mostly you, did with the event in Florida. My hope is to maybe write some articles on the event, try to break that down or break that out. So I may be picking your brain about how you rationalized how to kind of lay it out for Gear Report. But, it's not like it's a review, because, you get 10 rounds, maybe 20 rounds or something. I mean, it's not like you could do a whole lot, but you could give at least a rough rundown of, hey, here was my first impression of this. And then, of course, also talk about the event itself, like I said, and the range. So looking forward to getting some of that content out.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing it. I appreciate you sharing that with us. And
also saying that
I'm glad you were able to make it. Glad you were able to make it. Wish I could have gone. I actually talked to someone, one of the ad agencies that had a bunch of clients there, had asked, hey, can we meet there? I said, you know what? That's a lot of travel for a one-day event. If it was multiple days, I'd be there. But for one day, I can't rationalize all the expense and time commitment for travel for one day.
Well, I did. Of course, I'm a beast and you're not, but I drove straight there, 12-hour drive. Was maybe another 2 hours, not even, before I crashed and went to bed. Got up with about an hour and a half or so to be at the event. Went to the event and then drove after the event, drove 12 hours straight back home. So, and then within about 6 hours of getting home, had the first piece of content edited and uploaded. So, beast mode, bro. Beast mode, definitely.
Clover,
Clearly.
would there have been crawfish involved?
With what?
That trip, because I'll drive for crawfish.
Not with me. Not with me. There ain't gonna be no crawfish involved. No, thank you. But I'm sure you could. I'm sure there would be. There was, I feel bad about it, because, I'm used to going to these events, and I was talking with Ghost about this the other night. Having you guys at the event, Jeff, Ghost, Pickle, whatever, we all know. There's probably creators out there in the chat same way. We go to these shows, and we have little spurts here and there during the show that we hang out and joke, and we cross paths, and Ghost and I'll go out and have a smoke a couple times or something like that. Well, with this particular event, but it's usually all work, right? We're work minded. We're focused on what we need to do for the show. The thing with this show is I didn't really have any quote unquote colleagues or friends at this thing. It was mostly writers, people with magazines and weird things. I know of these people, and we speak and we have conversations, but we don't hang out and joke around or do anything like that, right? So it's kind of by myself. And I don't say that for anybody to feel sorry for me, because I probably got more work done that way, to be quite honest with you. But one of the things is you were talking about crawfish, and it reminded me of this. We got a voucher for a free meal at the food trucks, and I was so busy, I never partook of the free meal at the food trucks, and crawfish was one of the trucks. And they had a barbecue truck, and they had, I think, a taco truck and something like that. But they had several food trucks there, and I've going through my business cards today, because the food voucher was basically just a little business card. And I was going through my business cards I picked up today from there, to reach out to a company to let them know their video will be cut loose probably Friday. And there it was. And I'm like, well, doggone it, I forgot to get my free meal. So that sucks. One last thing, if I may. So if you've traveled through Texas, you probably stopped at a Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is awesome. Buc-ee's is amazing. The Buc-ee's in Alabama, hashtag not my freaking Buc-ee's. Did not have a great experience in that Buc-ee's. And I have let Buc-ee's know about it. And so my advice to people is, if you're traveling through Alabama and you've heard of Buc-ee's, because Texans tend to hype that up, and it does live up to the hype. But if you're traveling through Alabama and you stop at Buc-ee's, that is not a reflection on any other Buc-ee's in Texas. I have never, when I got home, actually before I got home, I actually asked my wife, I said, you know what, out of all the Buc-ee's we've ever stopped at in Texas, have you ever run into an employee that was about halfway rude? Not completely rude, even halfway rude. And she's like, no, I don't think we ever have. And I'm like, there was minimum four employees that either was interacting with me, or I was in close proximity when they were interacting with another customer in Alabama that was totally rude, not even halfway. And another thing, you go into a Buc-ee's in Texas, everybody that walks through the door, somebody in there, employee that sees them, will go, welcome to Buc-ee's. So you constantly, the whole time you're in the store, you hear, welcome to Buc-ee's, welcome to Buc-ee's, welcome to Buc-ee's. I didn't hear welcome to Buc-ee's one single time while I was in that store. And so I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I don't know if it's the Alabama people or just a different breed of people. I don't know if they're under a different set of guidelines and they're not mandated. And it's like, hey, you need to be nice to people or what? But out of my whole trip and experience, that was probably the low point, was going to Buc-ee's. Really disappointed in that.
You know, the one thing that I got from that entire story is hashtag Clover hates Alabama.
I really don't. I mean, you know, when you screw up something as awesome as Buc-ee's, you kind of deserve it, though, to be honest. But I'm telling you, that marksmanship part was off the chain awesome. So maybe at the end of the day, maybe it cancels out a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know if that can be canceled out. It's hard to say. Okay, so thank you for most of the rundown of that event. That's appreciated. That was pretty cool. Let's see. Why don't we? Since you talked about Taurus, let's get rid of that screen.
Oh, Sitz, real quick, while you're bringing up a screen, yeah, Right On, you said is helping out sponsoring the show. They were there as well. I forgot them, but since they sponsored the show, it's important to point that out.
Yes. Yeah, we like them. All right, we kind of like Ghost too. And you know, before he starts talking about the Taurus G3, I wanted to mention something that I'd heard the Buc-ee's story already, because I listened to the Armed Citizen podcast, and
Right.
and I wasn't able to join the show last night because it was my wife's. I was cleaning up after her birthday dinner, so I'm in the kitchen cleaning and scrubbing and doing dishes and stopping to type comments every now and then in the chat for the show. but you guys are a heck of a team. I mean, at one point, I think Ghost was like, screw you guys, and just left. And Clover didn't even miss a beat. He just kind of took over. It was his show for a while. I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. Y'all did a good job.
Not our first rodeo, my man.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what do you think of the Taurus G3?
All right. So the initial caveat is my findings and ratings are not based off of overall gun. It's based off of a $300 gun or guns in that same similar price range. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 gears for what it is, and I was pleasantly surprised. I'd never owned a Taurus before. It feels really good right out of my hands. I went through about 250 rounds, not one malfunction. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised on the quality of that gun. I'd heard horror stories, and I think we all have over the years, of some of the attempts of semi-automatic pistols from Taurus, and outside of PT-92, which is basically a Beretta, it wasn't really even a Taurus, it was just stamped Taurus. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I think that the one thing that stands out amongst other guns, even at a higher price range, that I really like is what they call the restrike capabilities, where you can dry fire this and not have to rack the slide. You can literally just pull trigger all day long and never once have to rack the slide to dry fire. So if nothing else, especially in today with the ammo issues and all of that, someone's getting into dry fire, this is a wonderful gun for dry fire. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised for sure.
It's funny you mentioned that restrike capability, because that's something I'd never really thought about. I got into shooting basically with I carried a Glock 17 for like 20 years. That's about all I shot. I had what was it, like a P89 Ruger for a little bit, and hated it, and got the Glock, and it worked for me, and I just carried it, and that was it. So that striker fire, the manual of arms of a Glock is all I knew, and I was happy with that. And I've got a couple others. I've got a 1911, and I've got a bunch of other things now, but that's just always, for a carry gun, that Glock manual of arms is what made sense to me. Well, when I was down in Florida in January, TJ took me to his favorite pawn shop, and I left with 3 pistols. Every one of them has got that restrike capability. And as I've been playing with them, I'm like, man, this is kind of nice. Exactly what you said, with, especially when ammo gets a little sketchy because they're cranking it out too fast, or you end up shooting reloads or whatever. That restrike capability could be very valuable in a personal defense weapon. So yeah, it's just funny to me. We both kind of seem to be coming to that same conclusion about the same time, very separately.
Yeah, I just think it's a great feature to have. That, like I said, I think that for a $300 gun, it's as good as anything out there that I've shot at that same price range. But I think what sets it apart is it could be a dry fire gun for someone, just to really just sit there and do a lot of dry firing and all of that. The grip itself, you and I had a little discussion back and forth on what it consisted of, what it was made of, and all that. And regardless of what it's made of, it feels, as I'm showing right there, it feels great. It really does feel good. The only thing I wish it did for me is have maybe exchangeable back straps. But once again, for a $300 gun, it is what it is. But it feels so good.
Yeah, I haven't got mine out to shoot it yet. I've done a bunch of dry fire with it, but haven't made it out to the range yet. I'm really anxious to see how it shoots, but so far I've been very happy. I've got that and a G2C that I picked up while I was in Florida, and haven't shot either one of them yet. But so far, it feels like it's going to be pretty good. So you give me hope with a pretty good review here. The one thing that I have noticed you also called out in your review, and that is a pretty long reset. So trying to do a little bit more rapid fire every now and then. I won't let it out quite far enough for it to reset, and then you know, got to do over.
It's definitely, it's not as bad of a reset as a lot of guns, but it's definitely not up there with the Walthers and all of that have like a tenth of an inch in reset. It's definitely a little bit longer. But really, for me, it's a $300 trigger, first of all, but a $300 gun trigger, so you can't expect a whole lot. There's just so much take up in it, though, man. It's weird. There's so much travel, but once it hits that wall, I think I put it in that video. Once it hits the wall, you know, the brake itself is pretty crisp. It's just so much take up, man.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, I don't want to give away everything in here. You still need to go watch the video. Where are the side shots? That's what I wanted to see, because I believe that during the entire pandemic, you have not been allowed to go to a barber, it looks like. So
I have not. I have not had a haircut in over a year. That's correct.
Yeah. Showing off the flowing locks there.
You leave him alone. I dig the mane. I dig the flowing lion's mane.
If I could do it, I would do it. So, you know, once you're
that's
hearing
why
it,
you're hating.
I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing about me is, if you know me, which all of you guys do, I don't care one bit about what people think. So I did it because my wife said, you should grow your hair out. And I took that as a challenge, damn it. And I haven't, you know, she shaves the sides of my head, you know, about once a month or so, every 3 weeks. But I have let the top grow, and I took that as a challenge. I haven't had a haircut in over a month or over a year.
Wow. All right, looking good, man. Appreciate the review there. We'll leave a little bit for people to go read and have a reason to watch the video. Let's see what comments I missed while we were over there. All the Buc-ee's were as good as the Texas ones. Yeah, see, I don't know. I've ever been in a Buc-ee's, and I was stationed in Texas for a while, a couple times actually. So I got to make a better effort to get up to speed on my interstate convenience stores. Jason Sanders, I have an announcement. Jason Sanders has gotten the EUC for his latest Humvee acquisition. That means the paperwork is cleared. He can make arrangements to pick it up and haul it back to New York. So I hope everyone is excited for him as I am. And that also means that this weekend I've got to go through all of my Humvee parts and finish putting together the list of stuff that I need to send him. So I'm going to get on that really soon here, but congrats on that, Jason. Let's see. Let's dive in to a backpacking article, and I'm going to go through this, and then when I'm done, I'm going to ask, which one? That one. I'm going to ask Pickle what he thinks about this, because he hadn't seen this as far as I know. White gas versus canister. This is going to sound ridiculous to some of you who don't backpack, or even you backpack and you're just casual about it. Like, who freaking cares what it is, as long as it lights, right? Well, even for a lot of backpackers, that's true. But for someone like me, I will pick anything to fight with people about. And my latest obsession, in addition to boots versus trail runners, has been backpacking stoves, white gas versus canister stoves. And it really comes down to the different types of fuel sources and the hassle of using white gas, or the ease of use for an isobutane canister stove. If you'd like to get the finer points of the arguments that I make for and against either one of those, you are welcome to scroll through there. But the big deal here is, if you're looking for a backpacking stove, we've kind of narrowed down some good choices in here of any of the three types. Your canister stoves, your integrated, your liquid fuel stoves, your integrated, remote canister on top of the canister, or liquid gas off to the side stoves. We got them in there. We even talk about better pots to put on the stoves to make them work better, windscreens that you may use to make them more efficient. Got a lot of stuff in here. So don't be afraid to dig in and learn a little something about canister stoves, liquid gas stoves, and whatnot, if you're into that.
So what side of the boots versus trail runners do you fall on?
Seriously?
He's a Croc guy.
Yeah. Trail Crocs, Ben. Come on.
Trail Crocs. Oh my god.
Come on, man.
They've got little pockets, and yeah, you can store
What a
things
crock.
in them.
Trail runners. That's where it's at. Yeah. So, all right, Pickle. I'm going to put you on the spot. White gas or canister?
It's a tool. And every tool has its usage. If I'm cooking for 4 or 5 on a
Answer the question.
backpacking trip, probably going to go white gas. If I'm having to melt snow, white gas. If I know I'm going to be on a camping trip where I'm having to melt snow for either water or whatnot, it's going to be the MSR Whisper Light. That stove was built in 1986 and has not changed, other than they put a different valve in it so that instead of just white gas, it would accept any kind of combustible fluid found across the world. It was designed to melt snow at elevation on Everest and is still one bomb-proof stove. But it is not light, nor does it whisper. So for me, most backpacking trips, it's either going to be canister or alcohol stove. The canister stove I've become a big fan of currently. You've got listed, it's that Soto Amicus.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm truly going fast and light, it is probably going to be the BRS 5000.
Oh, that's even better than the 3000, isn't it?
Or is it a 3000? I don't know. It's that 25 gram wonder.
Yep.
You know, if I'm taking my time and I'm with that specific crowd of backpackers, I'll probably break out a alcohol stove and
play in the audience. I like that. All right.
I just think he's uncommittal.
Yeah. Well, he's backpedaling because he realized, I think, he's singing the praises of Whisper Lights, and I think it sunk in. He's like, oh, he's not chiming in that's a great choice. I have moved past the Whisper Light. I think it is well past its prime.
I have not taken a Whisper Light, my Whisper Light, on a camping trip in 5 years.
Yeah.
But I promise you, if I brought that Whisper Light down here and set it on the table, I could boil water faster than any jet boil on the planet. I could also burn my house down. But
I'd say let's take a look at it.
It's a bomb-proof stove system. It really is.
I think, Pickle, we're all willing to take the risk of you burning your house down for a little demo.
And Doug's right. Canisters suck at low temps.
No,
and
you guys are both wrong. You're both wrong.
The Coleman ones that you get at Walmart are the most inconsistent canisters on the planet.
If you get the wrong fuel. But there are plenty of good canister fuels that are awesome at low temps.
If it's inverted. If it's not inverted, if it's like the BRS or the Soto Amicus, and you screw the stove on top of the canister and then use the canister as your base, it's going to suck at low temperatures. There's my people's coming in. If it's an inverted canister stove, like I want to say one of the Covias, then it's going to work better at low temperatures because that fuel stays in the liquid form. You invert the canister and it's closer to the nozzle. But fast and light, there's no way you're beating a BRS.
Yeah, 25 grams. That's the way to go. Okay. Yeah, MSR fuel. See, that'll do a whole lot better. He better not burn his house down. You know, I think for the wife and kid and the dogs, I agree with you. It'd be a cool light show if they weren't involved, you know. But let's get our priorities straight here. There you go, and you can heat it up. Yep. All right, that got a little more lively than I was expecting. That's good.
Yeah, you went to camping. My camping people are here.
Yeah. All right.
Can I pimp my show out tomorrow night?
Yeah, do that while I'm getting the next one queued up.
Okay. So tomorrow night, there's been a lot of controversy in the hammock and the camping and outdoor community over quilt feathers down, all that goodness that we use to keep ourselves warm in the wintertime or any other time of the year, and all that goodness that makes Jeff itch like he's been tarred and feathered, pun intended. So tomorrow night, I'm doing something I don't think any other podcasters ever had the guts to do. I've got 3 different competitors in the quilt and sleeping bag community on the podcast at the same time on a live audience, and we're going to dispel all the rumors about all the quilts. So if you've got any questions about any kind of, is overfill, does it help? Do, baffles change? What's the difference between 850, 950 fill down? Is unicorn fur really such a thing? Do you overstuff? Is overstuff going to help you? Air gaps? What is ethically sourced down? We're going to cover all of it, and we're going to clear up all the rumors. So, as a matter of fact, 2 of the vendors have shown up tonight. I will have Warren Ashworth and his staff from Cedar Ridge Outdoors. I will have the owners of Jacks Are Better, who created and developed and originated the underquilt. And I will also have John Rammel from Trailheads, who currently is producing the lightest quilts on the planet. Which I'd have you one, Jeff, if you weren't allergic to down. Your 20-degree quilt for Philmont could weigh less than 16 ounces.
Yeah, it's a shame, and for me, it's not so much itchy as I get this rattly stuff in my chest and start hacking and coughing, which normally I really don't care. But with all the COVID crap, people get freaked out and they'd be like, no, come on, man, you can't be here hiking with us with the COVID. So nope, I got to turn that more to balance out the shirt. There we go. Man, that camera is crooked, but it makes me look less crooked. So, hey, we'll just roll with it.
Did I hear unicorn stuffing?
Yeah, my quilts are unicorn fur, ethically sourced unicorn fur.
So unicorns do exist. Obviously.
Yes, and that man right there is the only person I know that can find unicorn fur. He's got a 100-acre. He's got a 100-acre farm that breeds unicorns, and yes, Jeff, Warren has the best synthetic option on the market with the up quilts.
Well,
it's going to look like a down quilt. It's going to perform like a down quilt, and it's synthetic.
Nice. Well, I've got the big trek coming up in a couple months, so if we want to put something together, now be a good time, and then we can have it in the big gear review video and get some promotion for that out there. Water resistant. Okay, no. Andy, listen. We've already talked about staying on the rails a little bit. That's tomorrow's show, dude.
That's tomorrow's show. Come join us.
You come back tomorrow. You can ask whatever you want then. All right. Oh, geez. Now people are just having their own chats in the chat here. Okay, that's fine. You're welcome to. Oh, I see what's happening. G23 is getting flirty. Okay, never mind. I got
flirty with Jen A.
Yep. Okay, so let's move Jen A. All right, let's move
I'm not
on.
A smart man, but I know what love is.
Oh my. I remember way back when the show stayed somewhere near the rails, where we stayed within sight of the rails way back when. It was 3.5 months ago, by the way.
Yeah, I pimped my podcast out. I don't care how far off we go off the rails now. Let's go.
Right.
Let's just hang a hard left and throw this buggy straight into the gutter.
Sure. Well, that makes a good time to talk about the Rogue Banshees review of the Franklin Arsenal Vibra Prime. I mean, who can't make a good joke out of Vibra Prime, right? That sounds kind of fun.
It's almost too easy.
It is. Yeah. So honestly, this is a really, really useful tool if you're a reloader and you want to get some volume without taking the time to flip all your primers over and get them all lined up just right before they go through the machine, so that they don't get loaded upside down, because that's bad. Really useful tool for a very, very small subset of the population who does something very specific. So if this is the type of thing that interests you, I highly recommend you come read through this review, because he's got some really interesting kind of pros and cons and little tips and tricks listed throughout here. If you're more visual, he's even got a video for you. So please check that out. I do have to warn you, though, batteries are not included. So if that's a deal breaker for you, you're going to have to find another way to be sure your primers are all flipped over the right direction before you load them into your reloading apparatus. All right, we're going to move on from that one. And let's see. I think we have... All right, we already did that. We have one left, and this one I don't expect to be nearly as controversial as the other camping article that we talked about, but we may have some good feedback. We got a lot of camping people here, and they may start cussing me here shortly, because this is about tents. And see, we could make a joke about this is going to be an intense conversation or something like that, but it wouldn't be that funny, so I'm not going to go there.
I was hoping it'd be a past tense conversation.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, me too. But I'm going to Philmont this summer. Philmont doesn't allow hammocks, which means I have to sleep on the ground, which means I need a tent, which means I've been thinking about tents a lot. And in the Philmont Trek Prep group that I help run over on Facebook, we've been talking a lot, giving a lot of people feedback and ideas on here's what you may want to take with you. So there are a lot of thoughts in here. We can skip all the Philmont specific stuff and just get into some budget backpacking tents that are pretty light, because there are people, man, I'm telling you, you see there's nothing left up here on top. I've been pulling my hair out with all the people talking about a 6-pound 2-person backpacking tent. It's not that heavy. It's only 3 pounds a person. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I got a 2-person tent that's 2 pounds. Why would I carry 3 times that amount of weight? And see, I'm losing my ability to speak coherently because I'm so emotional at the idea of carrying 3 times the weight I have to. Just not going to do it.
Comparatively speaking, for you non-camping folks, my tent is 28 ounces, which is less than 2 pounds. It is a trekking pole tent, so that's a whole new anomaly there. And my hammock setup, including insulation for above 40-degree nights, is under 3 pounds. That includes the sleeping bags and quilts. Doug is correct.
He is. Absolutely. I'm not denying it. I wrote this, and even I don't like it. I don't like writing about tents. Come on.
See, in the Marine Corps, they gave us half of the shelter per person.
Yeah. Right.
So you had to have a buddy. This would have been great, because I didn't have to have a buddy if I didn't want to.
Yo, you know what? That reminds me, I need to come back and reload this page. Oh, I didn't get it posted. I got so busy making my special shirt just for this show that I forgot to hit publish on something. That reminded me when you said that. I visited on Monday Right Sock. So you'll hear more about Right Sock tomorrow, because I'm going to publish a tour of their factory. And sometime in the next few days, Andy Parrish has got an article that's going to post about different kind of hiking and backpacking socks. Because I mean, you know, for the Marine Corps, how important taking care of your feet whatever the right word is there. Your feet go south, it's hard to get around, do anything. That's true whether you're carrying a ruck or you're carrying a backpack, you know, recreationally. So Right Sock has got some really cool kind of 2-layer socks that really help prevent any kind of blister type issues. And Andy's got an article on the way. See, we're already kind of on the verge of getting into what's going to be published soon. He's got something coming that's going to talk about Right Sock and a whole bunch of different other brands of backpacking socks. So we're trying to ramp up a little bit more camping content, so we're not just the one trick, you know, everything's got a trigger. Well, a trigger or an engine or a turret. Yeah, we do have a fair amount of variety here at Gear-Report. Right on. There you go. That's clever, Mr. Parrish. All right. So anyhow, with the tent discussion here, that article is about Philmont specifically, because I've been writing some things for that audience within that Facebook group, because there's so many people who are kind of new. They don't backpack much, but they're going on this where they're going to be 100, 120 miles of backpacking over the course of a week and a half. Kind of a big deal that they get their stuff sorted out, or they're going to be miserable. So trying to help them and get some good, solid recommendations out there. If anyone has other thoughts on tents, I've got I got my Big Agnes Fly Creek HV2 Platinum. It a couple years ago when I got it, it was a really high-end super ultralight tent. I think there's some interesting options out there that I may have to find another company to get a different tent from for this trip. We'll have to see. But if anyone's got thoughts or ideas on that, feel free to let me know. Are you giving up on sailing? Dude, no. See, it's another thing. I've got a couple. Dude, I've talked about this for 2 months now. I've got a smoking video in the queue to be edited that I just haven't had time to edit yet, and that is a NACRA Evolution. It is a all carbon fiber, you know, dedicated racing catamaran that I went out on at the end of December, and because of that, and the limitations of the cameras that I had for that trip, I actually picked up from Joe Ricklefs, one of our camping writers. He gave me a deal on a GoPro Hero 5 Black. That's what it is. And it has GPS built in, which means I'm going to be able to overlay a speedometer and a G meter and a track so you can see where we've been. So when I go out on these hot racing sailboats, you know, I'll be able to have some really cool graphics to overlay with it as well. So we got a lot of really cool things. That camera is probably going to go to Philmont with me. I may get like a GoPro 7 to go as well. We'll see. We're going to have some really cool new stuff coming up soon. Lanshan, really? You know what? All right. So opinion.
That Lanshan is a solid. That Lanshan's a solid little budget tent.
It is.
You got to seam seal it in a couple spots, and I mean it's a Z-Pac's duplex knockoff.
And that's where I was going. Is as a manufacturer just posted that he's using a knockoff, right?
Yeah, that's kind of gasp. There's the.
I know, and I don't want to make too big of a deal out of this, but.
Oh, don't worry. It'll come up in a future podcast, won't it, Warren?
I've been so on the fence. It's like I look at these and I'm like, man, you know, that it's such a good deal, and I wouldn't mind carrying something a little bit lighter, but I haven't been able to bring myself to pull the trigger to do it. I feel bad. So I don't know. What do you think?
For a Lanshan?
Mm-hmm. it's such a
if
blatant knockoff, you know?
it is, and until I lucked into that Lightheart Gear Firefly, it was my tent, because the way I looked at it, I might have a tent trip a year. I might have a tent trip every 2 years, because I am a hammock camper. So once I got that Lightheart and actually fell in love with it, I mean, you want to go tent camping, that's fine. I'm bringing that. And that land shan went bye-bye. But for somebody on a budget that can't or doesn't camp enough to justify a $300-400 tent, that land shan's a solid little choice for a backpacking tent.
Yeah. I just haven't been able to get myself to do it. I was actually looking at Lightheart Gear, their website, a couple days ago, because I have a tent I can use for this trek this summer. That Big Agnes is a really nice tent.
Do you hike with trekking poles?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
for you, I'd either say the Duo or the So Long 6 with your height.
Yeah. But I gotta find a brand that's looking to get some coverage, because I don't have that kind of budget right now. Let's see. 6 Moon Design, nice. One person tent, yeah. Okay, there's the other one, the X-Mid. I've reached out to Drop, the marketing company that is pushing the 1 person and the 2 person X-Mid tents, and it's not bad at the initial price to just right off the rack. But actually, I got to reply to that email in the morning and see if I can get one to review. Maybe that'll go on the trip with me. We'll have to see. All of you camping folks out there, if you know any brands looking for some coverage on a 1 or 2 person backpacking tent that will accommodate 6'4", then let me know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Warren. I try to steer people towards USA Made too, and it's tough. I also get what you're saying. I've been talking about Philmont. This is, all Scout stuff. But he uses X-Met. Yep. I'm anxious to see one and get my hands on one. Speaking of tents, G23, thank you so much for reminding me. That is something that I need to bring up in a different window here that I forgot to mention completely. All right. Share screen, move to a different one, that I have finally listed some more of the Hobo Village. So let's get rid of that note that's covering up part of the screen, and we'll make this bigger. So we saw that we took a command tent to the show in Florida and set it up with the Humvees, and a bunch of them set up in the warehouse. We have got every single one of those tents set up, fixed, stretched out, dried out, put away, except for 2 that have some repairs that still have to be made. Everything else is packed up, ready to go. We got a couple of them listed here for sale. 3-4 tents here listed for sale, and there's more waiting in the wings when we get these sold, as well as like a little blackout vestibule if you want to be all tactical and everything. And we've even got a couple videos. How did I forget this? I actually posted videos so people can see the walkthroughs of some of the tents as we had them set up when we were calling it my Hobo Village down there in the warehouse. So you can go check out the videos and see what Jeff's Portable Castle Emporium has available for you, and it's good stuff. So yeah, and you can repair it with shoe goo is what it was just saying there. So anyhow, go check those out if you know anyone who may have an interest in a big heavy tent, not nearly the same as what we've been talking about with backpacking tents. All right. So that, I think, concludes all of the stuff that has been published. Been seeing this, wish I had extra money. I wish I had extra money too, because then maybe I'd have some extra money and I'd be able to buy something, because we'd be able to hook up a deal on a big tent. We may still be able to do that. If you want one, let me know. We can work something out, I'm sure. because I got a few that I need to get rid of. And I just got the bill for the warehouse, so I'm a little motivated right now. All right. All right. What do you guys want to talk about? We have covered all of the things that have been published. We've talked about things that are going to be published. Does anyone have anything specific you want to call out about things in the review queue, things that are coming?
I've got the unicorn fur quilt review about ready as soon as I can figure out how I want to do the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
They're not acting right with Picasa. So I had got the review written, just went to put the pictures together, and Picasa made me angry, and I went to something else and got sidetracked.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, well, I will be anxious to see and hear about that. We've got what is it going to be? The 6th of April, the first Tuesday of April. We're going to have over in that Philmont Trek group. We're going to get into gear, so that is that is going to be an opportunity to talk about some things like alternatives to down, because we're talking about kids, and it's largely Philmont is largely people who aren't really great at backpacking, going out and doing things that are in many cases really pushing their ability and their gear selection and everything. So having some better options we could talk about would be good, because I hear a lot of people talking about no, down so light, we just take it. That place is a friggin' monsoon every afternoon, every single afternoon in July and August. It is a monsoon, and people take down there. People who don't backpack a lot, don't know how to pack and keep their stuff dry. I'm like, just don't. So I will love to hear about some of those other. Well, you're talking about down though, right? Your unicorn stuff.
Yeah, the unicorn. Well, the unicorn fur down was damp, or should I say moist, when I got back from the trip. But I decided to put it through a torture. I took wet down quilts, very high dollar, expensive unicorn fur quilts, stuffed them into a 13-liter compression bag and compressed it all the way, and then left it compressed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and pulled it out midday on Monday. So they were put into the stuff sack wet and left in the stuff sack wet all weekend in a compressed environment. So yes, they were damp when they came out, but I was never cold under those quilts. If the hammock hadn't soaked up all the water, I'd have been wet, but I was still warm. So the hydrophobic down really performs very well. We'll get into all this again tomorrow night. There's no point in hashing it out here tonight. But some of the especially the up synthetic, is a very nice budgetary choice for scouts whose parents don't have $300-400 to drop on a top quilt. So,
right. Okay, let's go back to a question here. Maybe we can rope Clover and Ghost back in, because I'm sure that they're sitting there like, why the hell am I even on this when they're talking about all this other stuff? So, what are you guys hearing about ammo?
Well, the new Vista Federal plant, which used to be the Remington plant, about an hour from here, and they are doing 24/7 production right now. So hopefully that will start hitting. I'm sure they had to make up for a lot of the contract jobs they had delinquent from Remington, but catch up on that. But hopefully that'll soon hit the market here pretty soon. At least will help a little bit of supply, you know?
Yeah. So at the event that you were at a couple days ago, Clover, were any of the brands talking about having trouble getting ammo?
Oh yeah, everybody was. But I did talk with Fioki, and same thing that Ghost is talking about, they're running, as fast as they can run, right? I've talked to a few companies, Winchester Browning being one. They're not having the issues. Last year with cough, raw material issues was, raw material acquisition was a big issue, and though that's all subsided right now. It's just dealing with demand more than anything. I've also spoken with a couple of big retailers, and they're telling me that manufacturer prices are not. Some of them have went up a little bit, but they're like, they haven't even went up enough to really affect their margins. So, you go into a Bass Pro, a Cabela's, a Walmart, an Academy, a place like that. It's not $30 a box for 9mm. It's not $19 a box. Well, it depends on what you buy, right? But, whatever, Winchester white box, Remington green and white box, $15, less than $15 a box is still retail. And, a lot of what we're seeing, which is the big, huge problem, and everybody is talking about it, but really there's no way to, I don't know how you combat it, is the people that have nothing better to do but wait in line at 9 o'clock in the morning, be the first in line with your 3 buddies or your son and your daughter and your wife, and buy an entire case and then, put it for sale wherever in the parking lot, right?
Yep.
And that's a lot of what's going
It's
on.
retired people.
That's always been an issue. Every single scare. More so, it's been an issue in recent times because of social media, right? It makes it easier to sell that stuff and to scalp. And I call it being a vulture. But yeah, as far as the companies, I mean, this whole notion that, once things come back, prices are going to be exorbitant. I don't see any truth. I'm not hearing anybody that really validates that. Obviously, as time goes on, prices go up, period. So if this lasts another year, especially with the $1.9 trillion whatever that just got passed, added to all the other crap from last year, right? Inflation is a real thing.
Inflation. Yep.
So, could it be a couple dollars more expensive a box because of that, and then another dollar just because of material or something else at the manufacturing level? And yeah, sure, but it being double, I mean, I don't see it being crazy exorbitant. But yeah, I don't know a company out there that's not running as fast as they can run. That is not just ammunition, but also reloading components. Remington is the Remington plant's kicked back off with primers, and they're running full steam at this point. So we shall see. Yeah.
I'm still hearing from people around me that you just can't find ammo. But then I got a friend that talks to the people at some of the stores, and they're like, we're getting more ammo than we've ever gotten before. It's not that we're not getting it, but it's the same people every day coming in and buying it up.
Yeah, I talked to most of the Walmart stores around here. I'm pretty good friends with management and all that. And I walked into I don't know, it's been a week or two ago now, maybe, but I always walk through the sporting goods just to look and see if anything's there, because there's some oddball. Walmart doesn't do handgun stuff anymore, but there's some oddball stuff occasionally. Good Lord, I think it's like $12 or $13 a box for some 30-30. And so if you're doing T&E or you're doing other things, heck, pick up a box of that, right? And so I always walk through there, and I walk through there, and of course there was absolutely nothing in the case. There was some various shotgun stuff around, but mostly 12 gauge, which is crazy because I know in other parts of the country that varies, and they don't have any 12, and they're seeing 20 gauge or whatever. But yeah, nothing in the case as far as center fire and cartridge. And just so happens one of the assistant managers I know real well was back there doing some paperwork, or he was doing something that managers have to do. And he seen me and he said, "Hey man," he turned around and looked at the cabinet. He said, "Look at all this ammo we got." And I laughed and I said, "Yeah, what is that for the new Ghost gun?" Anyway, he laughed. He's like, "Yeah, probably so." And anyway, he motioned for me to come around the side of the counter, and he said, "Man, this is crazy." And he doesn't really, he's got firearms and everything, right? But he's like not big, huge into paying attention to stuff. He's one of those. And so he's like, man, this is crazy. And so anyway, we got to talking, and he told me the same thing. He's like, they regularly will get multiple cases of ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it's nothing to get 10 or 12 cases of ammunition. He said, the problem is we've got 3 or 4 guys waiting when we bring it out. And those 3 or 4 guys are on the phone or they have people with them. And so when they walk up to the counter, all of a sudden their wife and daughter walk around the corner, right? And he's like, all of them are on their phone. He said, so by the time we get through waiting on those people, he said, they've done called people that show up with 2 or 3 people who are on the phone calling other people. And he's like, literally, we'll have 10 or 12 cases of ammunition. He said, and literally within 30 minutes, it's all gone.
Yeah.
And I don't, if you're buying it, even if you're buying it to hoard, right, for yourself, it's like, I think you should probably at some point give somebody a break, because there's some people out there that maybe they got to hunt, maybe they've got to, they've got training, maybe they got to take their license to carry, so, slack off for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But, I could sort of respect that, hey, I'm going to buy it every chance that I see it, and I'm going to put it up. I get you. But the people that are buying it up to resell it, I don't get those. I don't get those people. I really don't get those people.
Yeah. And I've joked for months that I'm sitting on ammo that I'm gonna sell so I can retire, but I don't want to sell it. So I actually did sell some yesterday, though. I got to the point I'm getting low enough on 9 that I'm like, yep, I'm done. I said a couple months ago, I'm not selling anymore.
Well,
but then I had some people call me and they're like, we've been looking for months. We can't find it anywhere. They're new to shooting. They're older.
Right.
They need to practice. They need to train.
Right.
They have a home defense gun. All they had is full metal jacket. They needed some defensive ammo. They needed some ammo just to get a little bit of basic practice so they don't forget how to safely operate the firearm, because they've barely had them and barely had training on them.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I don't have any to spare, but I still put a care package together for them because, you know what? They need it.
Right. Well, I did. I sold some too a few weeks back. A guy had listed some ammunition and that I wanted, more or less collectible, and asked him what he was looking for. He told me the calibers. Of course, I went through, started going through my stuff, and I found years ago I traded for it. I found 1,000 rounds of 45 ACP. It was all Winchester white box, right? 100 round boxes. It was 10 boxes, and I had forgot I even had it. And so, well, turns out he didn't want that. He wanted something else, but I'd realized I had that. And then I had a couple of people that hit me up. And so I ended up turning loose 4 boxes of that. And, I didn't know just looking on Ammo to Go or whatever. I mean, it was going for like $1 a round, $1.25 a round. I don't know, something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so I jumped over and just looked at Midway USA, and Midway USA was like $74.99. Of course, it was out of stock, no back order, right? And so anyway, I said, hey, $75, and they were ecstatic. Oh man, that's a good price. I'm like, well, not really, but that's probably the cheapest I'm going to replace it for right now if I had to. So,
well, it's unfortunate.
I'll take that. But it was a quick $300. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just bought a Browning Buckmark for $300. So, it worked out good because I was able to kind of recoup the money I spent on that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I am. Is I'm sitting on. I have more 45 and less 9. So I'm going to have to sell some 45 in order to get some 9, and I'm not going to be able to give it away because I need to be able to replace, the 9 that I'm missing, and that's hard to do right now. So yeah, it's going to kind of suck.
Well, couldn't you cut the 45 into like, what is that? 4 pieces, 5 pieces? Something like that, right? And it would work.
I don't know.
How many 9s are in 45? Do the division there. It would work, right? Put it on a chop saw.
It could. Which way do you cut the?
I think you have to cut it long ways. I think you have to. Like a pie.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cut it like a pie.
Cut it like a pie.
That way, there's a little piece of primer and in every piece. I think.
Well, the primer's already got the little kind of cross pattern on the bottom, so
that's why it's there. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, those are the easy ones. It's the projectiles that I worry about. Where's the right place to cut them? You know, like prescription medication. If it's a pill and it's scored, it's that's where you're supposed to cut it. If it's not scored, then the distribution of medication in that pill may not be even, so you're not supposed to break it. I didn't know if it was something similar with the projectiles or not. Okay, so next week, let me make an announcement. We're like way long. We're an hour and a half. We're losing people here. Let me. It is getting desperate now. It has been for months, and it's like Clover was saying. It's mostly just people being greedy and buying stuff up. Let me show you something. I've already shown this in prior shows. Next week's show, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to run it from South Carolina. TJ and I will be. We're going to be living in the vendor area at the gathering for a few nights. I was just talking to Chad this afternoon, sending notes back and forth in Facebook. Chad Wiley at Palmetto State Armory is kind of running this the gathering event at the sawmill. And he said that he has upgraded our location. So we're going to take part of my hobo village, one of the big command tents. We're taking the Battlewagon 3. This will be its debut at an industry event. So I've got the new turret and gunner protection kit installed for that. So it's looking pretty good.
He upgraded you from the chicken coop to the pigsty? That's awesome.
What's what I'm saying? He said that he's put us in an even better position. We were already happy because we're going to be like in the main vendor area, but apparently he's moved us up front. So we're not in the rear with the gear now. We're going to be like center stage, which is pretty cool. I'm kind of excited. So a lot of cool brands are going to be there. We're going to be checking them out, but hopefully they got good internet. If they have good internet, then we can run the show next week from the sawmill training complex in Lawrence, South Carolina, in the evening after the gathering has kind of slowed down. Actually, I'm wondering now.
I know Ron will be there with Riker. I talked to him yesterday. He'll be there.
Oh, such a troublemaker. Yeah, so the night shoot is going to be wrapping up, hopefully, around the time the show's supposed to start. So EOTech is going to be shooting long range from 7 to 8, and it's going to be in the middle of the party with Turn Up the Monster, apparently, sponsored by Budweiser of Spartanburg. The more I read, the less I'm thinking this show's going to happen. But it may. What I may have to do is give the ability to kick off the show and run things to someone else, because TJ and I may or may not be available. So,
you know what you could do, in all seriousness, you could turn it on. Have Pickle or someone running it from HQ or something. But like, just bring in as people as they walk by, just have them come in for a 3 or 4 minute little quick interview, and then bring someone else in. That'd be kind of fun.
That could be interesting. We'll have to see what kind of connectivity we have and what the whole environment looks like, and if we think we can pull it off. But I'm hoping, I'm optimistic. We're going to get there Tuesday midday or later, mid-afternoon, and get things set up. The show actually kicks off on Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So first evening, they're trying to make it a really festive atmosphere with bands and booze and food and all kind of stuff going on. So we'll see what happens, but we'll try to get something started. We may have to lean on someone to fire things off and get the show started for us. But anyhow, we are way over our projected time limit for the evening. I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us as part of the panel. Thanks to Pickle, even though he gets up early in the morning, so he had to cut out on us. I'd like to thank him for coming, and all of the Pickle posse who followed him in and talked about camping and hammocks and all that stuff with us. We appreciate you. Clover and Ghost put on a clinic last night on how to run a podcast, so it's nice for them to come and join us this evening and share some reviews. We really appreciate that. Any last minute plugs you guys want to make before we shut things down?
Come on, man.
I know.
Get off my lawn.
That one seems
Get off
too
my,
easy.
Get off my internet. Yeah, how about that?
Get off my internet. That could work.
Just
All right.
shorten it to net. Get off my net.
Off my net. All right. I'm typing that in the comments too, so I can find it later. All right. Any other ideas? In case you didn't hear, I'm going to start printing. It's not going to happen next week, but I'm going to start printing these kind of custom shirts just for the show. So I need more cool stuff to put on them.
Another one that is it's been a popular saying. I've never seen it on a shirt. Would be something to do with the Al Gore rhythms.
But he has to dance if he's going to wear that shirt.
Well, could you have like something like you could cut out like a guy like doing the robot or something and have Al Gore rhythms?
Could be. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I typed it in here, so I got it to go back and refer to when I need ideas. So thanks again, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. And until next time,